Greetings of the day, everyone. This is lecture number 3 uh, of argument writing session. This is the second part of argument writing. This will be very brief one. I did not want to take one long lecture of 1.5 hour or something of that order that it becomes harder for you to come again and see the lecture again. That is why this lecture is in two parts. This is the second part of argument writing session which you are watching. So this will be focused in the previous lecture. We discussed the basic answer writing formats, how to think before writing an argument, collecting the resources, and avoiding the basic errors. Avoiding the basic errors is what we will be covering in this lecture. In this second part, then targeted students you already know. The expected duration of this will be very less. It will be very short, around 25 or 30 minutes maybe. And the basic format and QCAB, you know what to do has been told to you. What not to do is what we will discuss right now. So that is the aim. You already know the QCAB, you know the spacing, you know the name format that is to be followed, you know how to make a PDF out of it. I'm just skimming through so that this I'll summarize this within 5 minutes. And arguments for and against is our question. We bring out the dichotomy within the first paragraph. We write our 4 points, against points in the second page, and the third page is of the against points and a single sentence conclusion if we have the time. No time, no conclusion. Then we saw some topper copies where they have written clearly, they have put this in a box, they have used Roman numerals, they have used underlining of their subheadings, and each point they have tried to put in data or something or a example. Against is also again boxed. You have your points, you have a single line conclusion which you can repeat and learn from the PYQs and from the topper copies. Again, in the starting line, you can either bring out the dichotomy or tell why the question was asked. Actionable subheading should be given. I have explained this in ample depth in the previous part. Then you can box important things, you can underline the things so that the examiner may straight away jump to what is required. A conclusion of around 15 to 20 words can be given. And lastly, you solve in a page which is right adjacent to another so that you have an idea that when the examiner opens up your document, he knows what is being, he sees something like this and he feels something very comfortable upon seeing this. So within 3 minutes I have revised your previous lecture. Now let us start with the mistakes. What not to do. This is very important for the beginners. Why? Now why is it important? I have explained this in a previous lecture, but I will still do because I want them all the argument, report and essay to be standalone lectures. So you have your 20 marks for an 20 marks for an argument. Maximum you can score if you write everything perfectly is a 10 marker. Everything perfect is a 10 marker. Realistically, toppers score somewhere between 7 to 8.5. Realistically talking, 8.5. And for a beginner who is just writing, who is filling just 2 pages out of 3, he may score somewhere between 2 to 3 marks in the actual UPSC exam. That too is a bit high, but yeah, once you follow this lecture series, that is both the parts of argument, you can jump from your 2 marks to as close as 6 marks. Now unlike report, argument has more to do with content than with the format. In report, the format is very important. In argument, your content is much more important than your format because there is nothing to be formatted over here. You just have to write in a clear, brief manner such that it is easier to read and you are able to communicate what you think is what you write, is what the other person reads, and what he or she understands. That is the entire cycle of communication, and you have to complete that cycle of communication by the written word, not by verbal speaking. From 2 to 6 you can jump, but you need good content for that. That is nowhere a doubt. And along with content, what I have always tried to tell everyone is the power of expression. the power of expression needs to be improved. Now, I'm not going to write this down, and because it is a very theoretical topic what I'm talking about right now. Power of expression refers to the fact which I just said right now, that you are able to express what you're thinking. For that, you need good vocabulary, you need good grammar, you need to be able to form sentences. And once you have achieved this basic English skills, basic English vocabulary, sentence, and grammar, once you have achieved these three things, then you move to the next step, that is sentence formation of smaller sentences. You form small sentences, not long, not complicated. I will show in the examples in the next pages on what not to do. So I will be showing you with examples, but first I want you to keep your pens down and I want you to listen to me very carefully. आप हिंदी माध्यम के छात्र हैं या आपने अभी अभी इंग्लिश शुरू किया है या आपको इंग्लिश बहुत अच्छे से नहीं आती है, तो आप पहले शब्द व्याकरण सीखें, आप अपनी वोकेबलरी सुधारें, आप अखबार पढ़ें, किताबें पढ़ें, बाकियों के एस्से पढ़ें, ताकि आप नए शब्द सीख सकें। दूसरी चीज़, आप छोटे छोटे सेंटेंसेस बनाया करें हमेशा, ना कि 35 शब्दों का एक सेंटेंस। आप छोटे छोटे सेंटेंसेस बनाएंगे, आप बेहतर अपनी बात को दर्शा पाएंगे। तीसरी चीज़, ग्रामर यानी व्याकरण आपका शुद्ध होना चाहिए अंग्रेज़ी भाषा में। आपको टेंस यानी भूतकाल और पास्ट और प्रेजेंट और फ्यूचर का आपको अच्छी समझ होनी चाहिए। इंग्लिश सेंटेंस में इज़ एंड द आर्टिकल कहाँ लगता है वो आपको सही समझ आना चाहिए। सब्जेक्ट वर्ब एग्रीमेंट करके एक चीज़ होती है ग्रामर में, वो आपको अच्छे से आना चाहिए। ये सभी चीज़ें जब आप बेसिक इंग्लिश की सीख लें, उसके बाद आप इन चीज़ों पे और डेवलप कर सकते हैं, जहाँ पर आप वर्ड्स के साथ थोड़ा गेम खेलें, थोड़े सेंटेंसेस को ऊपर नीचे सही ऑर्डर में अरेंज करें, ये आप कर सकते हैं। Another point to focus on what not to do is not to put the unimportant points first. Suppose there is an argument, and argument in favor of marital rape should be criminalized. Now, protection from abuse is obviously the first point, but under Article 21 is a constitutional thing. And it is very important because it is the right to life. This point can be placed above at number 1 or number 2. That is okay. But closing legal loopholes is not the first thing. So that can be shifted downstairs. So you need to arrange the points in the correct order. What is the correct order? Correct order is what is important, that comes first. What is least important or least impactful, that comes at the end. जो चीज़ आपके आर्ग्यूमेंट इन फेवर को सबसे ज़्यादा सपोर्ट करता है उसको आप सबसे पहले लिखेंगे, और जो चीज़ कम मायने की रखती है उसे आप अंत में लिखेंगे। नाउ हाउ डू यू गेट दिस ऑर्डर? यू गेट दिस ऑर्डर बाय थिंकिंग बिफोर राइटिंग. That is the only thing I'm going to say. You need to think before you write. That's it. You need to close the loophole. This candidate has not underlined anything and he has written 3 pages, so it becomes slightly a bit to read. And example is always written as EG and not EX. This is the Oxford style of writing E.G. So please write EG dot or E.G. as per your wish. But yeah, you need to follow some standard rules in writing. And I believe the Oxford rules of writing are very coherent and proper to be followed in exams like UPSC. So, yes. Now this question is, banning nuclear weapons will make the planet more peaceful. Now this is a very good topic and it is a very contemporary topic. Now this candidate has written India has completed 25 years. Okay, he is stating some current relevance. It hasn't seen full-fledged war. I don't know why this has been written. Since nuclear test of Smiling Buddha. On the other hand, the Oppenheimer movie launched recently shows the concern by nuclear weapon. Now the candidate has already shown one relevance by 25 years. Why are you drawing another relevance? Because you are writing two things and you are wasting your time, your space and your mental occupation. Why? Because you get marks for writing the argument, not for writing intro. One intro itself is fine. Like the evaluator has given it over here. That is very correct what the evaluator has said. argument for banning. Now this argument, see, he has boxed, but writing the word for has not been in capital. Now for this candidate, I would suggest that he writes the for with capitals, capital F, and he boxes for itself, or he boxes the argument for entirely. Matlab, he boxes this thing entirely, argument for, and then he can write this. And boxing the entire thing may remove the importance from the word for. It just has to be neat, all right? That is the main thing, so that the examiner knows what you're writing. This is another thing. This was a good this one had a good power of expression, if I recall. Technology has the potential to replace manpower. Now this has been the discussion since AI came to power, that artificial intelligence will replace us or not, and all that. Now this candidate has written argument for here, okay, and he or she has written with the capital FOR. So I'm clear, okay, this is for from downstairs. But this candidate has given half or almost two-thirds of the page to writing an introduction. Now what did I explain over here in the starting, in the what to do things? That you should bring out the dichotomy within this space only, and you start with the for, right from the half a page and less than half a page if possible. So this candidate has spent too much time, and although he or she has given this much time and written in good language, good content, easier, quicker, accurate, it is very verbose, but yeah, it is good content, but not much marks will be gained out of writing this, because marks are for the argument. This is just to show the examiner that you know what you are saying. And even after writing argument for, the candidate has written two more lines. Today technology has a great place in human life which made everything looks easy. There is no need for this. This is perfect for an essay, but not sure such long for interviews. This is another mistake. Then one more mistake which I have frequently come across is that the conclusions are not relevant, or they try to bring in some new point in a conclusion. Now that has to be avoided. Like, the conclusions are not to introduce new points. This is something which I want to emphasize on, because I have seen many candidates who introduce new points within the conclusion. You are to summarize in a conclusion. And always, irrespective of what the topic is, what side you take, you have to show an optimistic end, and the conclusion cannot be biased. This is one more thing which you all have to mug up, that the conclusion cannot be biased. The conclusion which you write, I know the arguments are on for and against. There are two parts. I completely understand that, but you are not to lean your scale towards one side, that I am more towards for, and I personally believe that this should be done, that simultaneous election should be done. No, you do not present your opinion. Please be clear in that. Essay, report, or argument, you do not present personal opinion. If they want to know your personal opinion, and if you are worthy of it, they will call you for UPSC interview, and you will give your personal opinion there. But when you write the paper 2 of CAPF, you do not give any personal opinions. Your conclusion cannot be biased. You do not lean to any one side. Like if the candidate here ends up saying that one nation, one election should be implemented, and the above argument supports so, then that is wrong. You don't write that. If you say that this thing, that one nation, one election should not be brought, you can't lean on one side and then give the arguments for and against. That is wrong. And similarly, another mistake which I have seen, I haven't put a screenshot of it, that many a times for the new candidates, that instead of writing a dichotomy, they bring out or they write in such a way that they end up leaning towards one side. This happens due to somewhat lack of maturity in writing. Now, for my Hindi candidates, I'll just wrap this up with a brief Hindi that आपके आपका जो कंक्लूजन आएगा अंत में, वो किसी भी एक तरफ लीन नहीं होना चाहिए. आप फॉर और अगेंस्ट दोनों में ही बराबर पॉइंट्स देने का प्रयत्न करें एग्ज़ाम में. और आप एक तरफ लीन ना करने के लिए अपनी भाषा को सुधारना बहुत ज़रूरी है, ताकि आप गलती से भी ऐसी बात ना लिखें जिससे एग्ज़ामिनर को पढ़ते वक्त ये लगे कि आप एक ही तरफ जा रहे हैं. इंट्रोडक्शन हो चाहे कंक्लूजन हो, कहीं पे भी. एंड ऑलवेज ट्राई टू राइट equal number of points in the argument. And even if you are not able to recoil maybe 1 or 2 points in against or for, just leave some space and you can write it later. Especially in against, you have the space because you have almost half a page empty. And always write the conclusion with ample space. Like this sentence was written later, I think, by this candidate, that's why there is a space here. But even if not, the conclusion, there is this much space here, almost 1 inch. If something bad happens, or if the candidate has to write a 6th point, he or she can just put in a subheading and leave it here as a last resort. So you leave some comfortable space here so that you can add. And if you have written, suppose instead of 5 the candidate has written only 4 points. Okay, suppose there are only 4 points here and this is blank. So now what we will do is we will leave the space here, and from here from somewhat here the arguments against will start, so that you have this much space to write your 5th point if you recall it later in exam. So spacing within the QCAB is very important. That is why I always ask the students to write in 16/23, to write in such a manner that in the actual exam day you are able to evenly space it out, you are able to fill the entire pages, and you fill it within 250-275 words. You don't need to go for 300 words. If you express yourself better with 275-250 words, you are going to score more marks, you are going to save more time, so that you can focus on essay, because essay will take your most time, and we will deal with essay in lecture number 4 that will be coming very soon. So thank you very much. Please focus. Please see the toppers PYQs after this lecture, all the 10 PYQs, all the 10 years. Solve the questions yourself, match with the toppers copy. That way you will learn where you are committing mistake, because these topics are relevant. This topic came in 2022, this can again come in 2026-27. So topics are relevant. You should solve the paper by yourself, argument, and then you check with the toppers copy on how they have written, because they have also prepared and written properly for you, so the content is good there. But rather than focusing on content, you should focus on the language and how they are writing and the way they are writing. So you can do that, and we will deal with the report and essay next. So report has been done, essay will come soon. Best of luck, keep preparing hard, and keep seeing this lecture every 3 to 4 months, so that you know that you are on track. Thank you.